guys, welcome back. We have a midweek energy update to get into. You may have noticed a pretty significant energetic shift take place this week as we hit the midpoint of our week. You might be feeling much more like energized and lively than maybe you have been this past weekend, or actually even over this past couple of weeks. We now have Mercury in the sign of Aries. We also have Mars and the Sun coming into a trine this week. We also have Jupiter and the Sun in a square, and energy levels should be quite elevated. Optimism, confidence, a readiness to kind of like get into something, start moving something forward, initiate something, execute on some action. I think that we're going to be seeing a lot of that this week. This is a probably very busy week. There could be a lot going on, very like conversational, information, communication based or oriented energy as well. We could be having some big ideas, and I do think some people might be getting a little bit full of themselves and the energy out there. This really is a week where we sort of feel like we can do or be or accomplish it all. Be careful about like over promising or over committing though. While this is an excellent time to be productive, to get a lot done, and you can get a lot done in this energy, it's not something that is going to be terribly sustained. Okay, so we don't want to like promise that the output that we are generating in this energy is something that we're going to be able to continue to do moving into the future. But other than that, you know, spirits quite high, probably feeling pretty confident, optimistic about stuff, and I do think that there's generally a pretty positive vibe this week, but things could definitely just be a bit overblown, a bit over the top, and we've got a lot to talk about. So that being said, you guys, let's get into our report. Let's take a look at all this in some more detail, put it all together, see where we're at energetically at this week's midpoint and how things are looking for us as we head towards the weekend. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field for more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We'll do that at the end. We've got astrology to get into though. I think that things are going to be heating up this week for sure, especially as we hit the midpoint of the week and begin to head into the weekend. If you guys have been following along with my videos, I have been talking about sort of the ebbs and flows of energy, how there's always, you know, an ever ongoing process of peaks and valleys that are underway, and we've definitely been coming out of a bit of a dip energetically, and now we are moving back into an energetic peak that I think we're all going to be sort of feeling, especially as we do, as I said, hit the energy of, you know, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. This is for a couple of different reasons. Obviously, in the last video we talked about Mercury having entered the sign of Aries, and this is definitely mentally energizing us. This Mercury Pisces energy that we've been in over this past couple of weeks, especially the end of Mercury's transit through the sign of Pisces when he came into the conjunction with Neptune ruling Pisces and the North Node in Pisces. Like, this is, you know, really could have had us questioning reality, just feeling very out of it, very like mentally, I don't know, disembodied, you know what I mean? Just kind of maybe very abstract thoughts or thinking patterns, nothing clear, nothing linear, and maybe kind of like mentally slow feeling as well, just like sluggish. But now with Mercury in the sign of Aries, that's obviously a totally different vibe, and we are probably feeling much more assertive, much more like turned on, maybe like a little bit feisty, and you know, ready to say what needs to be said. So that's sort of the shift that has gone on energetically in terms of the mental energy as we did move into this week. Now, as we hit Wednesday and Thursday of this week, this is being enhanced by a couple of other aspects that we've got going on. Number one, the moon is transiting through the sign of Gemini right now. Jupiter is currently in Gemini, and on Thursday, the moon will be coming into a conjunction with Jupiter in the sign of Gemini. This is indicating to me a very busy week, very maybe conversation, communication, information oriented week, a focus on what we're talking about, what we're thinking about, what we're learning, discovering, debates, opinions, just maybe a lot of like information oriented stuff. Now, aside from that, the sun has been in a square to Jupiter this week as well. The sun is in the sign of Pisces, of course. We just had our new moon in Pisces, but the sun in Pisces, I think it was actually Sunday exactly when the sun-Jupiter square occurred, but we are still in that energy. As of Wednesday this week, there's a 3-degree orb separation between the sun and Jupiter, but this is still quite active. And the sun and Jupiter, this does help to restore those levels perhaps of hope, optimism, maybe some faith or confidence or trust in ourselves somehow, or like in a higher power, like feeling maybe like everything is gonna be okay, like we are actually on the right track somehow. So this, I do think, is helping also, you know, to bring in some positivity, elevate our spirits, and it is expanding energy levels as well. The sun, of course, this is the life force energy, and Jupiter expands and amplifies things. So even in the square, this is supersizing energy levels, especially in comparison to where they may have been kind of on this little energetic dip that we've been moving through when we had such a strong focus on the Pisces energy, which does kind of like break things down and dissolve things and dissipate things. It's hard to really feel very like fired up and inspired when we've got a lot of Piscean energy. Now, we can feel very inspired when we've got Piscean energy, but it's usually more along the lines of like what we're creating or some type of spiritual inspiration coming through, or perhaps like inspired to disconnect from reality in some way instead of really immerse ourselves in whatever's going on in the, you know, the world around us, as the Mercury Aries energy is more primed to embody and experience. So between the shift of Mercury entering Aries and also the moon in Gemini coming into a conjunction with Jupiter, and the sun in square to Jupiter as well, Wednesday into Thursday of this week, like those things alone are likely to be just bringing us back to life on some level. Then we also need to add into this whole story the Sun-Mars trine that is also energetically characterizing our week this week. The sun, of course, is moving through the sign of Pisces. Mars, as we know, has recently stationed direct, transiting through the sign of Cancer. This is giving us a solar Martian water sign trine. Trines facilitate things, you guys. Mars is obviously our energy body. The sun, as I just said a minute ago, this is like the life force energy. Both of these energies, the sun and Mars, can have to do with the self and the ego and just the general vitality levels, vigor, okay? So, and the trine, of course, facilitates things, a supporting aspect. We should be feeling quite just like energized and like revitalized and pretty good. I would say like our vitality, you know what I mean? Like I think for generally, I mean, this can be a lot of fire. So on the other end of things, you know, the Pisces energy, there could also be like high fevers and stuff like that, or things related to heat and water, like hot water, boiling water, or I don't know, like issues related to excessive amounts of heat, perhaps, in the context of water or like physical health and well-being, like that could be a thing. But other than that, I do think that this is generally probably a rather like physically vital energy where we do feel like we're like just feeling good. We've got the energy, we've got the motivation, we've got the willpower, and it's likely to be coming from an emotional place for some reason. We could feel quite emotionally driven in terms of whatever actions we're kind of like compelled to pull the trigger on this week. It's probably going to be a very busy, action-oriented week. I mean, the sun and Mars together, and the trine also, that is like no real hold back. That is energy that really wants to move forward, flow forward, make something happen. This is a very, very action-oriented energy. And then we add this square between the sun and Jupiter and the conjunction between Jupiter and the moon, and we have confidence. We feel like we can do it. We believe in ourselves. Like we have confidence in our ability to get the job done in this energy. I do think that there is going to be a lot that is accomplished in the energy of this week, but we do need to keep in mind as well, Mercury is going to go retrograde, you guys, March 15th. I just feel like a lot of things that we are getting involved in right now. Of course, Mercury in the sign of Aries, like really jumping headfirst in right now, wanting to move forward with right now, are going to require some type of corrective action, revision, rearranging. Like something is going to have to be fixed or corrected about whatever it is that, you know, we are really like kind of gung-ho to get moving forward as we hit the energy of this week. So this is just something to keep in mind. And with the energetic setup that we've got going on right now, it's not really surprising to me, because it kind of feels like, you know, a lot of people could be feeling very full of themselves. This is a very, again, like ego oriented, perhaps overinflating our sense of self, like our confidence in ourselves, our ability to perform. And the thing is, this is what we need to realize. In this energy, we really actually probably are much more capable of putting out like a tremendous level of energetic output than in other energetic circumstances or environments. So this is energy that you do want to use to get as much done as you can, because we're probably just going to have more energy that is oriented towards getting the job done this week. But you don't want to take the energy of this week, okay, and like project it out into the future in some way where you are like promising to maintain this particular level of output like in a sustained way going forward, because it's not going to be there. And I think that that could be sort of one of the hang-ups in this energy, is people feeling like, you know, they've got all this motivation. And another thing to realize, you guys, with this Jupiterian energy, Jupiter in Gemini, Gemini is the mind, right? It's our thoughts, it's our ideas. Jupiter is this expansive energy, the moon there squaring the sun in the sign of Pisces. This could be like a bit of know-it-all energy. This could be a bit of like God complex. I have all the answers. I know what I'm doing, you know, like I don't need any advice. I've got this type of energy. And again, I just think that some of this may lead to corrections that need to be made coming up over the month of March. Okay, so I think this could be a week where energy levels and egos are a bit pumped up, definitely, especially considering where they've been, okay, when we have been moving through this much more low-key phase of the year with all the Pisces energy. And I think people are going to be feeling much more ready to move forward with something come especially the midpoint of our week this week. There could be a lot of work that needs to get done or that's being presented somehow. There could also be things to do with conversations or actions or orders being made by authority figures. Another interesting thing about the way energy is setting up right now is the sun is also building into a conjunction with Saturn. So it's almost like executive actions or executive orders or something like that, like the orders coming down like from the boss or from management or from a higher up that are being like triggered or initiated or executed or acted upon somehow this week, that maybe have been in some type of planning phase for a while, something maybe about like authority figures or rule makers jump starting whatever they've had like kind of coming down the pipeline. But there could also be a lot of back and forth, or it could be also like a lot of little things here and there, back and forth, just like little issues that are coming up that need to be resolved as well, with the emphasis on the Gemini energy, with the moon transiting through Gemini, coming into a conjunction with Jupiter Wednesday into Thursday this week as well. And then also, of course, these water themes, right? We've got the sun and Saturn and Neptune and the North Node all in the sign of Pisces right now. And of course, the sun in Pisces is trining Mars in Cancer and squaring that Jupiter in Gemini. So this is definitely putting an emphasis on like all things to do with water. I've been talking a lot about this in the previous reports, but I mean, water always, especially perhaps though, like maybe projects or work related to things having to do with water. Of course, Mars is going to also be like hot water, like boiler type of situations, or hydraulic energy, water power, I don't know, things to do with heat or hot water could be coming up somehow. And strangely, another thing to keep in mind in the context of all of this, especially maybe this like urge to like rush forward, move forward right now, we've got something that I think is like rather weird going on with Mercury and Venus as we move through the month of March. We actually have Mercury on March 2nd and March 30th in the same exact position because of Mercury's retrograde, and that same position happens to be in a conjunction with both Neptune and the North Node in the sign of Pisces, which is where Mercury was, I said, March 2nd, this past weekend. Venus is also doing the same thing. We recently had Venus and Neptune and the North Node come together in the sign of Pisces when Venus was transiting through the sign of Pisces a couple of weeks ago. I did a video on that. We are going to have Venus back in that same location coming up here at the end of March. So both Venus and Mercury are traveling the same path up through the 9th and 10th degree of the sign of Aries, stationing retrograde, and then backtracking back into the sign of Pisces, where they will again come into this conjunction with Neptune and the North Node. And, you know, if you guys have been following the astrology, following my work, I've been talking about how Neptune and the North Node in this conjunction in the sign of Pisces itself is quite a rare and significant aspect. The North Node, this is the collective destiny point. It has a lot to do with the lessons that we're learning and what we're moving into. And of course, Neptune is the ruler of the sign of Pisces. This has a lot to do with both releasing ourselves from things, the end of a cycle, and also spiritual connection. A phase of spiritual growth is being indicated with this, and also a point of major transition and release in terms specifically of belief systems. And it's also really interesting because the 30th of March, Neptune actually enters the sign of Aries, which is a major, major energetic shift. We haven't had Neptune in the sign of Aries since like 1861, and we're definitely obviously going to be highlighting and talking about that and its impacts as we move forward through this month. This month of March is really weird. So what I mean to say is that just something to maybe like put in your mind and like kind of just keep there as we move throughout the course of this month. It's like, for some reason, it's like we end back where we started despite whatever progress we feel like we're making as we move through this first couple of weeks of the month of March. Because it's like, I'm describing this energy, right? Mercury and Aries, that like gung-ho, like jumping the gun, like full force into something, head first into something, like let's get it moving, let's take charge, like I'm assertive, I'm active, I'm the leader, I want to move forward, seize the day. Like that is the Mercury Aries energy. And then when we've got the Mars Sun trine, same thing, and the Jupiter Sun square, it's like the same thing. So there's this huge energetic push to, like, you know, as I keep saying, like, pull the trigger on something, move forward, jump in, you know, like take the plunge, with the water energy being so heavily emphasized as well. But for whatever reason, it looks like we like go, and then it's like we like hit the rubber band or something and we get like snapped back all the way back to where we were to begin with. And then we get another chance to do it again. You know what I mean? So I don't know what lessons are going to be presenting themselves to us over this next period of time. I don't know what errors we're going to make. I don't know, you know, what it is exactly that is going to have to be corrected and redone, but that's what it looks like. It looks like people trying to get started, trying to push forward, trying to get ahead, but actually for some reason ending up right back where they started in the beginning of this month. So I don't know, but like you don't see that. I don't see that often. I've been doing these videos on this channel, narrating the shift of the ages with you guys for, I'm moving through my 4th year of this now, and I don't recall a time where I was like, oh, on March 2nd, we have a Mercury, Pisces, Neptune, North Node conjunction, and then yet again on March 30th, or at the end of a month, we have the exact same energy going on after, or like while in between those 2 points, we've got this like rocket fuel type of energy that is launching us forward. This could also have to do with perhaps some type of fight or conflict or argument or debate or something like that with the Mercury Aries energy, like maybe some conflict or argument that we thought we would pursue suddenly becomes not worth it to us or something for some reason, people changing their mind about following through on something along those lines. Or again, it could just be some type of correction that needs to be made to whatever it is that we're starting right now. But it could have to do with like battle themes or arguments, debates, conflicts of some type. It could have to do with or just like what we're trying to move forward with, the changes that we're trying to make, perhaps the transitions. We are in this very transitional energy. And again, like I said as well, with a Saturn element, these could be like things that are sort of like coming down from above, or they could also have to do with like actively trying to end something with the Pisces element as well, like actively bringing something to a close, setting a boundary, perhaps like maybe setting some rules or something like that. I don't know, but it does sort of feel like this boomerang energy. It's like we start out, like we throw the boomerang as we're moving into the month of March, but for whatever reason, it doesn't keep going forward in that direction. It like circles right back around and we find ourselves like back where we started when we started. So I don't know, that's really interesting, but I wanted to make sure to note that to you guys. Other than that though, you know, I do think we have the wind in our sails largely as we are moving through the week this week. You know, that also being said, because we do have this Gemini moon, this air energy with Jupiter there, I do think that we are feeling reinforced in whatever like forward projection, forward momentum mentality we also have right now. So it's both on the mental and the emotional level that we are like ready to go. And with both luminaries in aspect with Jupiter as well on Wednesday, but specifically Thursday, and then, you know, the sun also in trine with Mars again, we feel like we can do it. Like we are confident. Like it is not something that is unattainable. We feel like it is well within our capacity to succeed and excel generally at whatever perhaps opportunity or idea or, you know, really whatever it is that we are finding ourselves motivated to move forward with right now. So I would anticipate people to probably be feeling on top of their game this week, maybe even a little bit full of themselves, probably very kind of like overt and flamboyant, communicative about stuff, maybe quite assertive. It is giving an inflated sense of self. Jupiter square the sun, Jupiter with the moon. This is definitely, you know, amplifying our own kind of self-perception, which is why it is restoring levels of confidence and faith and trust in ourselves and everything like that. And also the sun trining Mars. This is definitely all about the ego, all about the self-interest, and as a result, as I mentioned earlier, people could be just feeling like they have all the answers, feeling like they have it all figured out, quite unstoppable. This is very bullish energy. I would expect people to be quite bullish about basically, you know, everything while we move through this energetic peak. And personally assertive, maybe even like borderline aggressive, but action oriented. We are pursuing things this week. Emotional motivation also is probably a driving force here with the water sign trine going on between Mars and the sun. Emotionally driven to achieve something, to be successful, maybe do something big with this Jupiterian influence as well, to make something happen. And again, with the Saturn influence, maybe to enforce something, to establish a boundary of some kind maybe, or this effort to, with the Piscean element, halt, limit, control, dissolve, dissipate, decompartmentalize, or end something. This could also, and I should have been mentioning this alongside all of this very heavy Piscean energetic influence over this past couple of days, and also, you know, as we move forward into this March energy as well. But there could be something to do also with like prison systems or mental institutions or something like that as well, because those are also like archetypally aligned with the Piscean 12th house energy. And just with the way that the setup is going on right now, I don't know, there could be something about that as well. So I had been meaning to mention that and wanted to make sure that I did today. But I would not be surprised if there are generally just some overly inflated egos or like an overly amplified, maybe like sense of self tied into all of this, and people may be getting sort of carried away, especially on Thursday this week. You might see a bit of like grandiosity going on out there. Be careful over promising, as I've said. Be careful also like over speaking. A lot of times the especially with the sun square Jupiter and the moon conjunct Jupiter and the Mars trine, this could be like kind of like put your foot in your mouth type of energy, maybe like saying too much, doing too much, offering too much advice, over committing, over promising, again, like the biting off more than we can chew energy, or the giving more than we perhaps actually had to give energy. Just because we had an abundance in this moment, it does not mean that this energy is going to be permanently sustained. Of course, unless you were born under energy like this, it is going to pass. So we want to use it for what it's worth. We want to use this energy to get a lot done because we can, but we don't want to be projecting it into the future, thinking that we will constantly be able to generate the same level of energetic output that perhaps we have going on this week. But it is, I will tell you, this is a great energy to like impress bosses or higher ups, or, you know, people in charge, authority figures, something like that, with your efforts or with your work ethic. You can definitely get praise for like a job well done, recognized for a good performance in this energy that could have some personally beneficial results or outcomes somehow. Overall, though, I do think that this ultimately is quite a self-interested week. People are probably definitely prioritizing themselves with all of this Mars Aries energy going on out there, and personal gains especially emphasized here with the sun squaring Jupiter and the Mars trining the sun. That's probably, and with the, because think about it, okay, Mercury's in the sign of Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is trine the sun. And this is happening in water signs. So Mercury is the mind. This is what we're thinking about, ruled by the planet in the trine to the sun. Both of these have to do with the self and how we're feeling, okay? So how we're feeling about things, and perhaps like a drive or a motivation to be successful, or to like just do something productive to move ourselves ahead somehow, I think is going to just be what people are focused on out there. And that is what this energy is good for. That's what it's meant for. That's what it's made for. So that's what we want to use it for. But it is, we just need to keep in mind, this is larger than life energy. Anything is possible. It is an I can do it all, I can be it all, I can accomplish it all and win at the same time type of energy. It does function that way, which is good, but in alignment with sort of the larger general Piscean energy that we're moving through right now, which I've been talking about, that is blurring the lines between fantasy and reality. It just may not actually be all that realistic. But here's sort of like the hang up with that. We are in very polarized energy right now, which, as I just said, is blurring the lines between what is real and what is not. But it is also expanding the potential of what actually is possible and breaking down the boundaries between the possible and the impossible. So, and we are in a time of major transition as well. And if you guys watched my new moon video, I was talking about how this month of March really kind of is functioning energetically to expand our horizons and broaden our mind about what potentially may actually be possible for ourselves, and maybe like helping to break down or just kind of wash away in the Piscean energy some of the boundaries or belief systems that we held in the past that maybe had kept us from believing in maybe some of these greater possibilities for ourselves, which we could be encountering now as we do move through this energy and this month of March. So, you know, the unknown and endless and limitless potential are also very much associated with this energy. So what I'm really trying to say is, you know, though a lot of what people are talking about and presenting, and, you know, people just sort of being on one out there, like all pumped up on something, and we may be sort of feeling like it's quite unrealistic what they're talking about, we should not be so quick to judge, okay? Because yes, a lot of this will be this larger than life, too good to be true people just getting carried away energy. But the polarity here, we've got Gemini, we've got Pisces. This is dueling energetic octaves that are kind of like equally prominent. Things that we never imagined to be possible, we will find are and were actually possible in this energy as well. So the more open-minded that we can stay, believe in all possibilities, work very hard towards our goals, this is a very, very, very good week to be productive, and also being willing to let go of things as well, because endings and beginnings, losses and gains are both simultaneously kind of like intermingled, like linked with each other, integrated as we are moving through this Pisces energy as well. But we do not want to move through this energy being like super judgmental or closed-minded, because we could be quite surprised that something that we were sure could never happen or was not real ends up being real, and something that we really truly believed was the fact and the way it's always been and the only way that it could be, there's a good chance we could come to find out that actually that was always some type of false representation or fallacy or, you know, weird projection, and was never actually what we thought it was. This is a very mind-bending energy that we're moving through. It's a very otherworldly energy that we're moving through. So we shouldn't underestimate the potentials, but we also don't want to get, you know, so carried away with these things that we are just being totally unrealistic as well. So we've got to try to like find some type of balance in between the two, I guess, as we move through this energy. A last couple of notes. Remember, Venus is also retrograde right now, you guys. There are going to be a lot of relationship shakeups, a lot of changes and transitions, and I do think actually like endings and releases in relationships that are making their way into manifestation throughout this month of March as well, as a result, of course, of Venus retrograding. Again, like commitments or investments perhaps that we were very ready to jump into as we like over this past couple of weeks, we may find that for some reason they're just not suited for us anymore, and that we are making the choice to do something different. I think a lot of people are going to be changing their minds about some things as we do move through this month. And lastly, I wanted to tell you guys the Sabian symbol where the sun is on Wednesday, as we do hit the midpoint of our week this week, begin moving through this moon in Gemini, and you know, the Jupiter Sun square, which again, we have already had that going on since Sunday into Monday this week, but it's still very active as we do hit this midpoint, and the incoming Mars Sun trine that will actually be exact on Friday, and we will be talking about in the next video. But I feel like the sun's position at 16 degrees of Pisces on Wednesday, March 5th is very, it's like the perfect explanation for, I feel like, the way that this energy is kind of like kicking things up for us as we do move through this week. The Sabian symbol of 16 Pisces is in a quiet moment, a creative individual experiences the flow of inspiration. And I really do think that's like pretty much what this is, like a water trine between Mars and the sun and, you know, the Jupiter element of things. This is a very inspired energy, this flow, right? This water energy of inspiration that is motivating, that is driving, that is like spurring some type of action to be executed, initiated on, take place this week. And with the Piscean element there as well, like that is also this like inspiration. So I think there's a ton of creative energy going on right now. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people are very, very sort of like wrapped up in creative projects, or, you know, even like art or something like that that they've been working on, or just like projects generally. Or this could also be deals, negotiations, like big sales or pitches, presentations, or something like that as well, with the Jupiter influence that we've got going on Wednesday and Thursday. So that's what I have to say today, you guys, about our energy as we do hit the midpoint of our week this week. Let's talk about tarot cards now for a second. the way that this message is looking to me, especially when we consider the astrology that's going on right now and what we know the astrology of this upcoming month is indicating, I think, again, this might be like sort of a little bit of a warning not to take on too much, feeling like we are, I don't know, just like solely capable of always generating this level of energy. So we agree to do this and this and this and this in this energy. But then as we move forward, realize it becomes some type of burden that is just too much for us to handle or maintain. And, you know, ultimately ends up bringing some type of question of whether or not we can keep going with this, or whether we need to kind of like reverse course and choose something else in order to rebalance ourselves. We have, look at this, we've got the Nine of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, and the Magician. This to me could be sort of like something that we've always wanted, like maybe something that we've been working towards, or something that we have kind of like idealized or envisioned for ourselves, perhaps even like since childhood. And but with these in reverse, it's like thinking that we, the Nine of Pentacles, like in and of ourselves, in the Magician, like we have the ability to create and to be and to receive something. Okay, it could literally be anything with the way that these three cards are coming together. But the thing is, with them all having been in reverse and the Ten of Pentacles coming out as well, it's like, be careful what you are, Nine of Pentacles, committing to, what you are idealizing, the Six of Cups, like what you feel like you're capable of manifesting or generating in this energy. The Magician, the Ten of Wands here, like overcommitting. Okay, again, it's the whole biting off more than you can chew type of thing, thinking that you're a-okay, in the clear, it's good right now, so it's going to be good in the future type of vibe. But for some reason, like moving forward, perhaps becoming just more of a burden, like I said, the Ten of Pentacles, than we can actually carry. Okay, and then on the back of the deck, like I said, you know, sort of reinforcing this, we have the Eight of Cups in reverse, the Lovers, the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and the Temperance. So it's like the Lovers has a lot to do with questions and like, can I or can't I, yes or no, decisions. The Eight of Pentacles in reverse, of course, is like the decision of like, should I stay or should I go? Like, is this really making me happy, or is this draining me more than it's filling me up, you know? And then the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, it's like, maybe I need to do something different. Maybe maybe this is not the perfect fit that I thought it was. And then the Temperance card, of course, this is in order to regain balance, to temper things out, to like make sure that everything is reciprocal and we are on an even keel with things internally and externally, you know what I mean? Restore a sense of inner balance, perhaps. So I don't know, you guys, that's just what it's looking like. And I do think that it is, as I said, like we do have the Nine of Pentacles, the Six of Cups, and the Magician. This is energy that is very supportive of us being able to, you know, manifest perhaps something that we've always idealized or envisioned or even wished for. But with the Ten of Wands coming out on top and understanding that we've got these retrogrades underway and we're getting put right back where we started in the first place, I don't know, I just, being mindful, you know, of how we are proceeding moving forward could be of some benefit. You know, things are going to go how they're going to go right now. We have these retrogrades coming up there. No matter really what we do, probably we're going to find ourselves in a position of needing to rework or correct some things somehow. But I just think it's a general word of advice sort of cosmically coming through right now to not get too ahead of ourselves and not take on too much in this energy that is drastically going to have to be rebalanced. And that we actually may question whether or not we even want to be involved in as we move forward. So that's what I got for the tarot today, you guys. We're going to get one more card now, a Synchronicity card. We're asking God, Spirit, Universe for one final piece of advice or guidance that can benefit us as we move through this week and all this firepower energy. And it is firepower. Like, we are all Mario out there. We have the firepower shooting flowers this week, and people are going to be using them. So, you know, Mercury in Aries as well, like as I said earlier, people are not backing down from a fight. Like, people are more conflict oriented right now. Like, we are bullish, we are facing things head on. This is a risk-taking energy as well, feeling like we just can't fail in this energy, and we are more supported to be successful. Like, we can do and be and have more in this energy, but we just don't want to take it too far, because that's always one of the downfalls, I guess you could say, of an excessive amount of Jupiter energy. And our message for the day is God will guide you. He who overcomes shall inherit all things, Revelation 20:14. Be a channel for good of God. Let life, love, harmony, and understanding of God flow through you. Praise God in the midst of you, and know every problem is solved by God. When disharmony and discord or disappointment appear, be assured God is guiding you through it and will reveal the way to achieve your goal. So there you have it, you guys. God will guide you. This is also another thing that I've been talking about, you know, kind of in that regard, that I haven't mentioned too much in this report. This is also a very highly spiritual time. That's another thing, you know. What did I say we've got going on that's weird this month? We have Mercury starting out the month, the 2nd of March, in a conjunction with Neptune and the North Node in the sign of Pisces. We're talking about, want to talk about spiritual guidance. God will guide you. Universe will communicate with you and, you know, give you some direction. There is probably not a more like specific aspect that would indicate that than Mercury, the messenger planet, in a conjunction with Neptune, the lord of the spirit world, and the North Node, the destiny point. That's like faded information. Could be faded spiritual guidance, could just be a much stronger aptitude to receive spiritual guidance. And we are getting this twice, okay, in this month. So if you do just as this card says, if you need some advice, God is guiding you through it and reveal the way to achieve your goal. So staying very spiritually minded is definitely going to be beneficial to us as we move through this time as well. And that's what I have to say today, you guys. Message from the stars, message from the cards. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would also enjoy this type of astrology content. Leave me comments. I am so grateful for your presence here on my channel. I am very thankful to have you guys all here narrating the shift of the ages with me. Please leave me comments if you are having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about or reflect what I'm talking about in these videos. That is very valuable information to me. And again, like, I'm so thankful for your presence on my channel. If you guys want to know what's on this whiteboard, see the whole board, I take pictures of them that I post in a Facebook group that I have linked in my description box below. And come back with me on Friday, you guys. We've got more energy to get into. Bang, bang, bang. Heat turned all the way up. Mars and the sun in an exact perfect trine in water signs and more. So I'll be back to talk all about it. You should come with me. You do not want to miss it, you guys. So I will see you next time. Have a very beautiful midpoint to your week. And until next time, bye guys.